This conference will now be recorded.
Started. Let's get it started. Okay. You get
Councilor Odepesa,
here.
Councilor Johnson,
Here.
Councilor Honor, here, Councilor Cortez,
Here.
Councilor Moore. No? Okay.
Right. We approved the agenda for the Roswell Infrastructure Committee agenda meeting today, July 21st.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councilor Cortez and a second by Councilor Arnold. Any disapprovals of that? Please say aye. Hearing none, it's a. Go ahead.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the Infrastructure Committee meeting on June 16, 2025.
Second. Okay, got a motion and a second. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, approved. And there we go. Approval of minutes from Infrastructure Committee meeting. It's done. Regular items. Consider resolution to Finance Committee for approval of the financial support. Page 5.
Good afternoon, Chair, councilors. This is your Roswell Transit federal funding from fiscal year 27. Every August, we have to present a resolution stating that you are willing to support us for another year before we submit a budget to them a year in advance. And so this year's budget, we have requested $952,171.12 in support from the city of Roswell, which includes $70,285.52 in administrative expenses, $829,200 in operating expenses, and $52,685.60 in capital expenses, for that total $952,171.12. And is there any question?
Any questions? Hearing none, get a motion then.
I'd like to make a motion to send resolution 25XX to the Finance Committee for approval of financial support for fiscal year 2027 to be considered for the consent agenda.
Second.
Right?
It has to go to finance.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
You said that, oh, sorry.
the finance or the consent agenda, but
I want them to
you're
consider.
a curveball.
Send it.
Yes.
That's
This is going to the Finance Committee. We got a motion and a second. Anybody opposed to this? Hearing none, passed. Thank you. Let's see, the next one, CDL buses in City of Roswell. I believe that's you as well.
It's me. So we have insurance funds that the NMDOT has been collecting over the years on our behalf. And I think part of the reason they've been collecting is because they didn't know what they could or couldn't do with it. That's why we're just now requesting this money to be utilized, is because they finally decided that they could take this money and pay for our portion of the buses that we wanted to order. So the bus that we ordered last fiscal year that you approved, in the amount of $39,638.60, which was our portion, was used out of these $114,837.33 in insurance money, which left a balance of $75,198.73. And so what she being Deborah Bach from the NMDOT, wanted us to do was order 2 more buses. And we need some CDL buses to be replaced. So that's what's on your buyer's order contract is 2 CDL buses. And the reason they're in 2 different contracts is because one, they will cover the entire Roswell portion, and the other one will require us to pay $8,088.07. And so that money we will transfer from our fluids and fuel account that you already approved in our fiscal year 26 budget. So there's no additional funding that I am requesting. It is a budget adjustment, however, to add the revenue and the expense in equal amounts.
Since it's been approved already, does it have to go to finance?
Yes. And transfer from your fuel budget. So with the price of fuel going down, is that to assume that's your slush fund? You probably have a slush fund.
I'll
from
never
fuel.
say.
I know it's separate, but everybody's fuel budget
We
seems to
really
be a
don't
little,
have a sludge, but we don't have much of a budget.
maybe it's a bad terminology
Yeah,
that I'm
probably.
using there, but let's just say that's where you can do your ROBs from, right?
That'll be about the only Rob will get.
Which is an acronym for realigning the budget, not, but yeah, perfect. So,
So is that coming from DOT?
I mean, here's what's supposed to happen. I'm gonna be candid with you. Right before the end of June, we sold a bus. It sold for $4,000 from public surplus. That $4,000 is supposed to go to buy more buses. It's earmarked for that from DOT. We're not allowed to spend it on anything else. So technically that money should have come across into this year and been able to go against this 8,000. I have 2 more buses to sell. Those buses, when they sell, what we receive from them should also go towards this $8,000 that we're gonna owe. Generally speaking, I cannot make that happen in accounting because, well, I don't really know why. Because we don't have the fund, I don't know, we don't have a way to account for it across years, I guess. And so that $4,000 I sold that bus for should reduce this down to $4,088.07. And then the other 2 buses that I sell, if I could sell them for a net total of $4,088.07, I really don't owe anything.
look how long it took him to get you all these other funds. So
I know.
there you go. But, go ahead.
Sorry,
Counselor.
go, you go, you first. You're the chair.
Well, I just would like to clarify what I expressed to you as this should go to finance. And the reason I say that is,
Oh, I know it has to go to finance. I've
Yeah.
already put it on their agenda.
well, and, his thought process was probably we approved that in our fiscal year,
Right.
which,
It still has a fiscal impact because it's gonna have a budget adjustment. I've already gotten with Tony and she's going to add it to the budget adjustment that she's doing this month in
Mhm.
finance, so it'll be kind of a housekeeping item for finance. I don't think that it should,
no, and anything that has a financial impact, I think it'll behoove us to roll it through finance
Yes.
anyway,
I'll put it on their back anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Councilor Cortez, go ahead, sir.
So I'm just trying to understand, so there's some amount of money you sold your bus, which is restricted in that it can only be spent on other buses.
yes, but see, we're a separate fund, so it just kind of, it was posted to sale, gain on sale of assets.
Okay.
Which is, for accounting purposes, that's the correct account to put it in.
Okay.
But because we're a separate fund, in my thinking, that should have gone to a restricted fund balance within our fund. So you should have unrestricted funds and you should have restricted funds. And so our system, our accounting system has no way to do that unless you do it manually. Like you'd have to make a journal entry to put it into restricted after the year rolled over, and it rolled all the money, which was probably basically nothing, into your cash balance, and then you have equity that balances to that cash balance. The cash balance should have said restricted equity is 4,000 and unrestricted is whatever was left.
I got you.
That doesn't happen in our system. So if we could have just sold it after, it wouldn't have been so difficult if I could have sold it after the beginning of the fiscal year.
Well, I commend somebody somewhere for earmarking it so it returns back to, the insurance
It's
fund.
114, well,
Yes, absolutely.
we could have paid that 4,000. I thought about maybe sending it to DOT so they could just add it to these funds. That may have been cleaner, but I just don't know.
And then, so the DOT funding for this is the insurance fund plus capital improvement fund, their capital.
So
We have 180.
they're already going to pay from 80% of the bus
I got you.
from their capital,
Gotcha.
right? And so we only owed 20% of the bus purchase. And so this 114 is covering our 20%.
I see.
6, yeah.
Everyone got that?
Couple down here.
We did a flow
You
chart.
said that you can't do it with the system that we have right now, right?
Right. Well, we're getting a new one, right?
Oracle,
Maybe. I won't,
why maybe?
I don't know that much about Oracle. I'm not in the finance department anymore. So I only have limited knowledge.
Okay, well, my question was going to be, is it going to be possible through Oracle to do what you say you would like to do?
It would be great if they could, yeah.
I mean, because,
But,
just like I expressed at the meeting, the last system that we had, they gave a great presentation and convinced everybody that it was the greatest thing in the world. And then it turned out to be the worst thing in the world.
It was very limited.
And then this presentation, again, something that seems like it's,
We couldn't have done it through HTE either. So, this is just a limitation in what we have.
my
Hopefully in
point,
Oracle though, it won't be a limit.
my point is, if we see the need for such a system that we need specific actions or whatever in a system, and if that kind of actions are not provided in the new system that we're going to get, given the amount of money that we're spending,
Well, you could do it, you can do it manually in any system.
yeah, but you don't have to. I mean, because the system is telling us that,
It's actually an accounting error, accounting entry.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is. So, whether you want to collect your insurance funds and put them in the general fund, and then when you run budget, tag it for that, or whether you just want to get the proceeds, earmark them as they did in this, and just slide them over to transit and say, here's your funds. By the way, you should use them for the new purchases. And I don't know if they told you that was the verbiage, but, or you just took it on yourself, say, hey, cool, can we use this for the,
Well, and that 114,000 is actually at DOT.
yeah,
To be used
And
in
you-
the city of Roswell.
to
Yes,
be used by the city of Roswell, earmark.
because it was
20%.
our insurance money.
So, anyway.
And this 4,000 is a different issue. That came from a sale of a bus. It was not over the 5,000, so I didn't have to give it to DOT. I could keep the 4,000, but then it went into regular revenue and rolled over into our beginning fund balance in fiscal year
There you
26.
go, gotcha.
And so it's not earmarked to spend for a bus, but it should be.
Well, it's, Go ahead, Councilor Young.
I just wanted to say, I usually operate on a 30,000, so I was kind of picking up all the little semantics of what you put together to accomplish what you did. And as far as going, basically if this door is shut, there's a window open. And I just want to applaud you for actually getting us 2 buses. And I think it's great. I'm excited. Nice work.
Any more questions?
And just so you know, the DOT also has sort of chastised us because our buses
Yeah, DOT.
have been, I know. Because we're advertising other departments on our buses, and they want our buses to be our buses and to be branded as public transportation buses
Emily?
and have a similar look to all of them so that you can spot one anytime, right? Oh yeah, there it goes.
What do we have?
They're both-
Like,
We're advertising police, zoo, recreation. I don't know if you've seen our buses, but they're all different colors, which is beautiful. I love it.
they're fun.
They're beautiful. I love them. But zoos on one, zoos on one of them, and recreation's on one of them, and police is on one of them, and fire's on one of them, and Fly Roswell's on one of them. And so they were upset because we're advertising the city instead of public transportation. So I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to do.
Well,
without
buses
making-
have been
making them upset.
Buses have
Maybe-
done advertising.
Maybe one side will be all about transit and one side a little bit of.
Actually, that's a mechanism for revenue is advertising. So-
If the department's giving us money, which the departments don't, but
Yeah.
general fund does, so
So if that is.
I think it's cool that
contract-
they're all different colors.
I don't know. So are they okay
you're saying
with
that we're
us?
lacking marketing consistency, so the DOT is
Yes.
complaining about.
But if you guys say, we don't care, we're gonna continue to do it this way, then all I gotta do is tell them to kick rocks.
As long as it doesn't jeopardize our funding.
I learned a long
It
time
is.
ago, you don't tell the
Yeah.
DOT to kick rocks. All the state agencies, that's the agency you don't want to tell.
Just tell them, sure, we'll get right on it. And
Yeah. Anyway,
So I just think it'd be helpful in these writings, because I'm kind of going, I'm like, oh, I've got 11, that's just an observation.
okay,
I've got $114,000 in insurance funds. And then we're gonna have to take money from here, and then I come down here and the purchase price is 400,000, which you've explained. It's just not really clear how you got from there to there, because they're
Oh,
on different numbers. See what I mean?
okay.
Just a little bit of like, that's more, that insurance fund is going to the 20% local fund with the 80% match.
Our portion,
I mean, it's
they pay
just
for
a-
our portion, which is the 20% of the buses. But we have to pay the whole thing. So we have to pay 400 and whatever it is
Right.
and get reimbursed everything but the 8,088.
We get reimbursed after delivery or? how-
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Which may or may not fall into this fiscal year again.
Okay.
But as
pretty
long
much
as the
all paid for
PO,
minus.
the PO is there, we'll carry it across and just like we did last year's, and it's just not a huge deal.
Got it.
Any more questions? All right.
Clear as mud. Okay.
I think we cleared it up pretty good.
It's clear.
You ready for a motion?
Absolutely.
Okay. I guess it's my turn.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I move that we send to finance this item with the recommendation to approve the approval of purchase 2 CDL buses in the city of Roswell fiscal year 2026, federal year fiscal year 2025 at a cost to the city of $8,088.07 to be transferred from the budget already approved by city council.
Consent?
Oh, consent, yes.
Financial consent?
Consent or finance?
No, finance then.
But to finance the recommendation.
Oh, for the recommendation of consent. You guys and your curveballs, man. Okay,
Let's strike it out. Second.
we got a second. Perfect. Anybody opposed to this? Hearing none. Ooh.
No.
Oh, Counselor Moore, go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't say no. I said, no, I'm not opposed. We're good.
All right.
I'm excited.
Counselor Moore, can you tell us about what
Yep.
time you joined the meeting?
It was like 2:06, something like that. I don't know why my internet takes so slow to get
Thank
started,
you.
but
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Abraham, or, go ahead, man.
Committee Chair, committee members, I'm standing for you. We're asking for consider recommendation of approval of the FY 26 solid waste purchasing authorization request. We're asking for authorization not to exceed of a total of $771, 362, or $771,362. We're asking for $471,362 to bond equipment, be able to purchase a new side load truck this year. We're asking for $200,000 to Snyder or Tank Holdings. That is where we purchase our 300-gallon containers from. And then we have a new vendor this year called Rerig. I'm not sure on the pronunciation, so I apologize. And that one, we're only asking for $100,000, and we're purchasing the 96-gallon containers from them this year. I stand for any questions.
Lucky.
So these are existing purchase orders.
No, we have not placed our purchase orders yet because we have not gotten approval from council. We're asking for budget authority.
Budget authority, so this wouldn't be coming from the enterprise funding from you guys.
It comes out of our fund only. We have the budget, we've been granted the budget, but we're asking for authority to spend over 60,000 of them.
Okay. And one I see is a price agreement. How about the other two?
So both bond equipment and Rig are both Sourcewell contracts, while the Snyder Tank Holdings is ITV 21-007.
Okay. So these are already established PAs, and you would just want to tie a requisition later on without coming through
Yes.
our blessing.
Yeah.
Trying to get, but not to exceed funding of these dollar amounts.
Yes.
Correct.
Which is the dollar amounts in the budget that we approved.
Yes.
Capital budgets that we haven't been able to see yet.
And the other two are in our budget already.
So
The truck.
you know the question I'm about to ask, right?
Go ahead, and it needs to be asked, yeah.
So these are for capital improvements, because these are basically gas.
Only one is the capital.
Bonding equipment. That's
So
our
side load truck would probably be the only capital.
Yeah, the other two are normal budgetary items.
And the normal two are on the budget we approved.
Yes.
So really, it's,
Those are gonna exceed 60,000, so we come to you now.
right.
We put a finance.
But they don't necessarily exceed 60,000 because you don't buy $200,000 worth of trash cans.
No,
You
but
buy them
right,
in groups.
we buy them in groups. I know right now, I believe the Snyder for a full truckload of 300s is 65,000 or above right now is the quote we have for a full truckload.
These are really replacement values.
Yeah.
And if you don't need to replace, then you don't buy these amounts of trash cans,
Yes.
but you generally do.
Yes, they get destroyed.
Gotcha.
There's a housekeeping item every year. And the new 96-gallon container for that last one, isn't that third column, that fourth column is empty, is because this is our first time purchasing from them. We're actually getting the 96-gallon containers about $20-something cheaper each one.
How much 96-gallon containers did you buy last year?
0.
You bought 0.
We bought none last year due to budgetary expenses. We bought enough excess the year before we were able to hold off. But this year we've got to get an order purchase through.
Well, a lot of city councilors don't like 96ers, you know what I mean? They have the big 96 versus 300 argument.
Right.
You'd be here for 4 hours talking about it.
I
I don't
wouldn't.
think we need to do that here, but could you, since we are here, could you tell us, because I think you've told me Could you tell some of the city councilors why you like the 96ers, Abraham? Get this is awesome.
I'll try to keep it short.
You'll keep it short. It's pretty awesome.
96 gallon containers, you control your waste stream a lot better. You don't end up with engine blocks or transmissions or rear axles or tires or mattresses or box springs. Cement, concrete. And then in the, what happens in the alley is that you don't have so much activity. There's not a lot of illegal dumping back there, which we can back it up with data that we actually have. Although I will concede, 10% of the alleys in the city are perfect for 300s. Ideal. Absolutely. 96 gallon containers, what we're looking at now, what we've discovered is those 300s, when they fill them up with dirt, concrete, sand, rocks, they're wearing away at the bottom of the garbage trucks. So we're replacing the decks of all those trucks faster than a normal MSW, which is municipal solid waste. So because 300s are a catch-all for everything, it's actually destroying the truck. And since we service the city twice a week, we're reducing the life of 8 to 10 years to 5 or less. One truck to redo a whole new deck, AR-15 plate about this thick that ends up being this big, you're looking at about $10,000 to $12,000 per truck. They're getting beat up now. What people do is they'll put all that garbage and stuff, concrete in the bottom, they'll put regular trash on top. We truck trays, push it, so we're picking up to 800 cans a day. As you're pushing it, you're wearing down the bottom excessively. And we're replacing all those things. So with a 96 gallon container, we're in the asphalt, we're in the concrete, it's quicker and faster for front of house service. We are able to transfer the city a lot quicker. We don't run those risks of our trucks getting stuck, destroying fences, destroying gas meters, hitting poles, hitting trucks, destroying trees. That's kind of the benefit of the 96 gallon containers to us and probably the rest of the entire country. However, 300 gallons is what the city wants. So we're going to continue to it, but 96 is an ideal solution for the service. Yes.
At one point, we were talking about the possibility of going to 96 citywide, and you guys were going to do like a portion of the city to test out. And so are we still on that road, or we kind of abandoned it, or what?
It was abandoned by the previous administration. So for this new administration, 300 gallons is what we're going to stick to. We will not use 96 gallon new ones. The only places I put new containers is when we have safety risk or the trucks literally don't fit. And that approval, we have an internal mechanism that goes to Mike and Chad. They review it with me. We look at the safety aspect, and then Chad signs off. But those are limited in scope. We do not do that program anymore.
Okay. That's good to know.
It's on a case-by-case scenario. We gotta look at, gotta get buy-in from the neighbors to talk to them. Explain to them why we're doing this, what's going on, work with us, because sometimes you only have 3 inches on both sides.
But the ones that did get the 96 containers, they will remain in with the 96.
Yes. That was the previous administration, the beginning of this new administration. They do have 96s, they're gonna stay with that. That's what it's working out well. I haven't seen any major issues.
Well, we do have a lot of, and I'm jumping ahead of myself here, is the pickup reports. I mean, hundreds every week aren't picked up because they're not out, and
They're not out if we take a photo too. So.
I mean, I'm just saying it's disruption in service for the customer. And I guess, it's, I would hate to drag mine out there every day, but if I had to, oh yeah, I'd be out there. 'Cause,
So
Yeah.
that data, what you're alluding to there is, we've been showing you that picture for over a year now. What's happening is we're over servicing the city. And that's a lot more mileage, a lot more fuel, than our exposure liability. And the life of our trucks are getting destroyed. So when the can not being out, what happens is we're driving around chasing cans that are not there. Because with the 96 gallon container, you know what your waste stream is. You're not gonna put half of your yard waste in there. It's right there. So it's a lot easier and faster for us, but the data that we've been accumulating since probably a year now shows you we're driving around chasing cats. In neighborhoods that are full of 90s, you look down the street, you might see one. So we gotta go all the way down there and pick that one up and come back. So we're kind of working our way with the data to show you in the future, this might be more feasible. And we'll do a cost comparison.
So- By what you just said, if you just shortened if you made it to one time a week, these not outs would go down drastically.
If you notice, it's on the second service day of the month, of the week. So we do Monday, Tuesday, then Thursday, Friday.
Right.
So Monday, Tuesday, you get the bulk of your trash. Thursday, Friday, we're chasing cans, except for the 300s, that is a free dumpster for the entire county, the entire city,
Yeah.
or anyone. So that's why if it's there, they're not gonna go to the dump, they're gonna dump it there. So we're getting this from, I'm getting this from the data that we've collected and we're looking at. So we're trying to build that before we come to you with a formal presentation, say, hey, this is the cost benefit. This is what we're gonna get from a cost perspective, operational perspective, versus what residents want. That's the.
So Councilor Lopez, no more concrete in the.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Councilor Moore.
Catch me.
We live on the base. I don't think it would be feasible on the base for us to have those big ones because we have no alleys, we have no sidewalks. So I understand you say you're chasing cats because I don't always put mine out on the second day because I live alone. I don't have enough trash to put it back, to put it out there usually on the second time. But so I understand what you're saying about with that issue, but there's no alley, so with the big one, where would it sit? There's no place. So in the base, there's no way that you could do, and only on 8th Street, maybe back over there, they could, because they have that little drive through. But for the rest of us, we have no place to put a big one on the street or in the back. So I don't know, a citywide would work, but I can see if you can figure out that most of it is okay, but through the base, I don't see how we could do that.
You're correct, Councilor. Your base, you cannot. We looked at it, you're all 90s out there. Your alleys are way too small for our trucks.
Yeah, it is.
Those alleys were built in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Our trucks were not built in the 70s. You are correct, but like I said, 10% of the city, up to even 15%. 300s in the alleys are perfect for people that know how to utilize them correctly. Not dumping all these excessive items. You are correct.
And I didn't even fuss or complain when they broke my fence. But it's the neighbor's fault. I keep telling them, stop putting the trash cans so close to the fence. Because the truck, because it has to open the arms, has bent my fence like real bad right there. So I said, I'm not even going to complain. Because I told the neighbor, stop putting this trash can there. And they won't. So that's why it keeps hitting
So we do have an issue now. When you empty the cans, hey, I'm gonna drag it closer to my gate versus your gate. They put it up against the fence, and then if it's too close, the drivers won't service it. They'll call it in. They'll drive away. The supervisors will come in and talk to the neighbors, say, you can't do that.
Well, they need to do that because they have broke the fence. Like it's like bent the end of it is like bent in half because it hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I told the neighbor, don't put your, he doesn't speak English. So maybe I need to brush up on my Spanish and go tell him, but.
There was the breakdown, right?
Our flyers are English and Spanish, so we'll help you out. People that speak Spanish.
All right, well, I'll give you an address and maybe somebody can go and visit with them and see if they'll move it closer to the,
Not a problem, Counselor. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, appreciate you. Appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you.
So that's done.
Any other questions here?
Back to this.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's kind of a mixture of like ongoing expenses and the
Yeah.
capital outlay. I'm not sure how that's going to fly into finance. We can let you go.
Actually,
argue
it's
about
done on an annual basis,
It's on
if I'm
the-
correct.
That mechanism we use, actually, our list is actually longer. but we can't see our, so let's see what happens.
But I think you're right. Let it land in finance and, we'll
Let's
see
let
what
Bob
happens.
sort it out.
Let Bob sort it out.
Call it city building.
Good day to do, what do you call them with the city, planned sick days? Okay,
Mr. Chair, I'm going to make a motion that we recommend approving the solid waste purchasing authorization request and forwarding it to Finance Committee for the consent agenda.
okay, we got a motion and a second. Any opposals? Hearing none, approved.
Thank you.
Let's see what's next. Recommendation, support of application Mexico water support for a large diameter water line. Oh,
Mr. Chairman,
oh,
sorry, Utilities Director Andrew Valadez had a conflicting meeting, but I worked together with him on this, so I'll carry it.
okay, that sounds good.
So we're asking for consideration of recommendation of resolution 25XX, sort of application to New Mexico Water Trust Board for a large diameter water line replacement project. City of Roswell Utility Department has identified a potential large diameter replacement project for this 36-inch diameter transmission line on Montana from 19th Street to 8th Street. This line has had multiple leaks in the past few years and is also identified on the current water master plan as a priority replacement project. So it's proposed to apply to the Water Trust Board for a $10 million project to replace this line. As for project application support, if awarded, Water Trust Board would provide funding proposal details. And based on the application funding timelines, if approved, this would be a fiscal year 27 project. And in your packet is the draft resolution, just an overview map of the project area and engineer's estimate.
And I didn't see much about matching funds if it was a.
Correct. So in their documentation, they say the minimum match is 10%, but they won't identify that for us until they award the project.
Okay, that's why.
Right.
Got it. That's all we need is especially in water, and that's a critical area right there. So. Any questions, guys, with James?
Is this, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I forgot to ask permission to speak.
Let Bob know about that. Go ahead.
My question is, our debt limit, where is it at? Do we know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the information to answer that question.
Because we were pretty close to the limit not too long ago, if I remember correctly.
This is a grant, and it's for $10 million grant, and it's just a proposal. And it's for 2027, and it is also has a match if it's, and they'll let us know what our match is once it's approved. And I think the city would be crazy not to pull it out of the enterprise fund somewhere in 2027 to match that to take care of a $10 million project. We can send this to finance and let the powers that be, the Councilor Corns and the Councilman Hildebrands of the world, tell you if we can or cannot, but I would assume this would be a great project. And I think applying for any and all subsurface infrastructure right now is in our best interest.
Because it doesn't sound like it's a grant, it sounds more like a loan.
So typically, the Water Trust Board has been a combination grant and loan.
Okay.
I think I've been in some meetings where they've talked about trying to always apply every year to the Water Trust Board to see what kind of funding is available with shovel ready projects, and then, of course, then whether you accept it or proceed with it is sort of, you don't know until, you don't even know if you're going to get selected, right? So we don't, it's Jordan, we don't make baskets, we don't shoot, right? I think, isn't that the theory? And then use our infrastructure plan that tells us what the higher priority replacements are. And use that to guide those applications.
Yes, sir.
We're using one plan to make sure that Ed will really like, as long as we're using the plan. Otherwise, he'll get mad at me, so. That's my understanding. That they're gonna try to do this every year, file $10 million every year, whatever.
Yeah, I just think applying, and that's pretty much in the Water Contingency Committee. That's going to be their new focus, is just applying for grants to replace infrastructure, water lines in particular.
We should.
No, but that's a great question though. Because it doesn't really say, oh, this is 100%. It just says we'll provide a funding mechanism and,
Or hope for a funding mechanism.
but yeah, so applying would be your first step. And then seeing how it lands, and then playing our cards up. That's a great question. Councilor.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. Assuming these lines are the old rusty lines that the mayor is consistently asking us to work on. So at this point, I think 3.5 years in, I've not seen I've heard a lot of discussion about those lines, and I'm not seeing a true built-in plan of action. But I think what I'm saying is I completely agree with Councilman Cortez that we should actually every year be applying for this. We should have a plan on area and what we strike next. To me, it's the law of attraction and the law of assumption. We just envision it getting done and we start moving in that direction. Because basically in our lifetime, with as many lines as there are, without a plan, I don't think we're going to get anywhere.
You're exactly right, Councilor. And also, in the city's master plan, this is one of the biggest priorities right now. So, you're exactly right.
Should
be.
Yes.
We got a bunch of departments here. It's this little sort of APV out for all departments. And you're referencing these plans, these water master plan stuff. Do you mind shooting me a copy of the plans?
Sure.
I'm trying to gather all the plans. I don't know all the plans that exist, but every time I go to a meeting, I discover that there's a new plan. So please do me a favor, or otherwise I'll be sending you emails. If you come across a plan that you know of that's in your thing, I sure would like to have a copy of said plan. I'm trying to create a master list of all plans.
Wow.
So if you come across one, you find one in your department that you think I should just please email it to the city council or specifically to me.
I was like, that's a lot of attic storage. You using putting it in your brain, that's a lot of attic storage. That's what I call my brain.
I've got a plan for all the plans.
Bet you do.
To be discussed at a later time. So I appreciate you. Well, who wants to, does Councilor Moore have any questions?
Councilor Moore, do you have any questions?
No. I understand, and I think it's something that's needed for sure. We can't get started if we don't get the plan. So, well, 10 years from now, we'll be looking and say, we was going to fix that from 19 to 8 in 2000. And, that's we said that when I got on the council, that was what was said. So I think we should go ahead and say this.
You're a baby. Thank you, Councilor Moore. Any other questions on this question?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna, a motion to recommend resolution 25XX for support of application to the New Mexico Water Trust Board for large diameter water line replacement project to the legal for consent.
Second.
I felt like this should go to legal because it was support of an application and not necessarily finance.
It's probably going to need to go to legal and finance, so, but legal first.
Thank you. Ms. Andrews.
Resolution has been submitted to city attorney for review. All already?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, so let me change that, Mr. Chair, just for the diameter water line replacement project to be sent to the consent agenda.
I still second.
And she's still second, okay. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, so passed, off to finance. Thank you, guys. Let's go to,
No. I didn't consent. I consent. I just sent it to consent agenda for the city council.
consent,
There's no financial implication.
No finance.
finance.
Oh, this is all about an application.
Okay, no finance at all, then straight to the
So,
consent.
and it doesn't have to go to legal because you're going to send it to the lawyer, to Hess, right?
Everybody's-
Yeah, history has.
Okay. Okay. All right.
That's, okay, that's, what is your 2 cents?
I think
That's fine?
yes,
Okay.
we reviewed it legally.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. To consent agenda then. Perfect, okay. This is going to move us along to a non-action item, and I'm pretty sure Council Lady Arnold has brought some in lieu,
Some around. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, they're very bent because 3D does not withstand New Mexico heat,
oh, I thought they were,
right?
somebody put trash cans too close to it.
Right? Or caught them on fire. This is what they'll look like if they get on fire. They get burned. But anyway, you know what's passing around? Portland Lou just contacted me and actually said, can we send you this? And I'm like, sure. And then we also got some anger management poo, right? That's what I have.
I need that to go with my rainbow sticker.
Mhm.
Certain mementos you're just never gonna find.
And I think the last place we left out on this discussion is doing some research on finding two-seaters or further, as Councilman Kelvin Brent kind of supported me in suggesting.
Correct, yeah, Mr. Chairman, committee members. So we did reach out to Portland Lou and ask for a quote for a double installation. So in your packet is that quote. So on that quote, line items number 1 and number 2 are kind of have to have, and then item 11 is the shipping. Items 2 through 10, oh, I'm sorry, 3 through 10 are optional add-ons. But this is the revised quote that I received for a double installation. So this would be 2 of the single occupant version.
Is the cold weather upgrade, is the extreme cold weather cumulative to the cold weather, or you just, if you buy one, you're good?
I believe it's one or the other. So the cold weather upgrade gets us to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The extreme cold weather upgrade is to -5 degrees Fahrenheit.
You probably need to go with if we were gonna do one.
The total amount is $308,000 if it's 2 of them, or one of those double.
The 2 single occupant. Quantity
Single.
2 of single
I
occupant.
don't think they're doubled, right? They're single, and then you just, if you want 2, you put 2 next to each other, right?
Yeah, but I think the discussion was to see if we could get like a double
I don't know, do they make a double?
unit.
I can ask again. I don't believe there is a double.
I don't
Or at
know
least
that-
that's what I understood the a question to me.
I think that was kind of the concept, but I don't know. I think the whole idea is that they stand individually. I haven't seen or heard anything about a double. And I know it would kind of be neat if you just had a little bit longer and a basin in the middle and each side was a restroom, but maybe they do.
I'll reach back out and
You
ask.
can construct it that way.
Yeah.
May I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I am like Counselor Pesa. I was under the impression that it was gonna be like double one with two toilets, not two separate ones that we had to put together. I thought that the research was supposed to be about looking for a double louvre, louvre pool, whatever it's called, louvre. So a double loop, because that's what we talked about. I remember, like you said, we were going to research if they made one that was a double, that would save. They're already building it, and if they're making a double, there's more access, especially if we put in one downtown or somewhere close. A double would, what is the singing going to do in the middle of the UFO festival? So, like a double. And are they movable? Like once, say we set it on Main and Second. I'm just using that. Can it, if we see that it don't get used or if something happens over there, can they be moved?
Mr. Chairman, Counselor, the intent was that these would be plumbed into the city water and sewer system, so they would be
Permanent.
permanent installation.
Oh yeah, because we had to put the cement under them and all that. So yeah, I can see that. Okay, I got you. All right, that was all I had because I thought I said it was a double, not two side by side. So if y'all can look into that and see if they make them a double. I don't know whether you call it a double or a side by side or you poo next to me. I don't know. So that's all.
A double poo loop.
Mr. Chair, according to the Portland Loo Wikipedia, it is a single occupancy toilet designed in Portland. So
Wow.
I think they're singles. The cost you're saving is running lines to power and sewer and
Yeah,
water.
because it
from water.
is powered hand dryer, and I think your sewer lines, you got to tap into the sewer lines.
Sewer and water.
Originally, they were
And water.
manufactured for the city of Portland for $960,000. That was 10 years ago.
These are popping up pretty much all over.
Well, Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
what about the concept of actually putting two of them back to back or, where we could run the lines and do it all in one cement pad with the actual water coming up simultaneously, producing two, but saving time and funding on infrastructure. I think that actually, if they don't make two and we need two, that makes sense.
I think, Mr. Chair, the big question is this the cost for the thing, and then the cost of replacement, and then the cost of any maintenance, ongoing maintenance.
Yeah,
It would be ongoing.
it would need a summation of all above.
I think we're closer.
Yeah, that's what, we need to continually talk about it and keep going that way. And
James, can you get enough information that tells you like what the what you're gonna have to bring in the way of lines over sizes, those kinds of things? That way you can, if there's a proposed placement, then you could estimate the
rest of the.
ancillary costs, the other infrastructure costs.
Yeah.
But then the last cost to figure out would just be maintenance.
Then the maintenance.
Which I don't know, maybe, Jim, you're good at maintaining toilets. You got a lot of those out there. Mr. Burris, he probably knows how much it costs to maintain a toilet. Maintenance supervisor. Who's the best person for council to talk to about determining maintenance, ongoing maintenance costs to service said portable loo? Okay. We have a volunteer.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, when we first started this conversation, Parks and Rec would actually be downtown every morning watering the plants. This was before we got the water lines in for the plants to water themselves. And that was actually a discussion about, that they're already there. Basically, they'd have the water line rinsing off the inside, because that's really how easy this is. And I've seen them actually doing it. That you walk in, but that was 2 years ago. But that's the kind of concept that we're looking at, is someone to make sure that it's rinsed off at least once a day, because there's chemicals that you can spray in it and then rinse it down. And then of course, making sure it's secure at night. I think that's the maintenance of it. Yes, I'm sorry. Fine.
So when James puts in the slab, he can put in a quick connect, like we have some of the ball fields, like an air hose, puts in. So more than one person can have it on the trucks. So whoever's there can service it out. So that way, you water and keys, all this other stuff. You want to have some kind of fitting that people can't fiddle with.
Yep.
Put it on, people have water keys. So, like you said, like the ball fields, look like air hose. And then just depends whoever's around can clean the water.
I guess I'm just come up with a cost per visit estimate. And then, of course, you can scale the visits based off of, well, if it's once a day, this is the budget item. If it's twice a day, it's this. Busy times, it might be 3 times a day. We just got to find a way to get a round estimate for maintenance costs to be able to bring something to finance.
And what flush jobs are we gonna be using? Are there gonna be something specific for that? Are they gonna be something we can pick up local? Yeah.
Yeah, replacement parts, I guess.
Those are great questions. And I want to say, you had an engineering estimate of the crane unloading it,
The whole thing for
the whole thing, hooking it all up for one, with all of the piping, everything. So, I mean, I think all that exists already. We just need to tap into that again. And of course, probably look at new pricing and all that stuff as well. And, I don't know much. I'm the end user. I don't know much about that. So. Bruce comment. Anyway,
Image I didn't want.
yeah. So, light flickers a little bit, but it always comes on.
I know,
I like it. Any more questions on this one? The next one, Infrastructure Committee, open discussion on South Sunset traffic study.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we're requested to give an update on the traffic studies that have been completed on South Sunset.
Yeah.
So in your packet, there's 2 documents. The first one is the report on the speed study that we did internally. So on that document, so starting on page 36 in your packet, there's kind of a summary. So what we did is we looked at total traffic volume, and then we did a speed study. So as far as the total traffic volume, NMDOT, we pulled some traffic counts that NMDOT had conducted. So there was 3 DOT counts that were done on that stretch of Sunset. The first one was near the intersection of Hobbs. So that count indicated roughly ADT, which is average daily traffic, of 8,755 vehicles. The second one was Sunset near Poe, and that one average daily traffic of 6,635 vehicles. And then the third one was Sunset near Jaffa, and that count was average daily traffic of 5,365 vehicles per day. Just to put that in context, the first number from Hobbs of 8,755 is roughly equivalent to Atkinson from 2nd Street to McGath. Kind of that roughly equivalent volume of traffic. And then we did a speed study. So we have some equipment we can deploy to capture vehicle speed. So that equipment was placed from April 27th to May 2nd, 2025. roughly a work week is what we captured. So during that period, there were a total of 40,043 vehicles whose speed was detected. Of those, so grand total, 79.74% were exceeding the speed limit of 35 miles an hour. The average speed was approximately 40 miles an hour, and the 85th percentile speed was 46 miles an hour. The 85th percentile speed is generally accepted as a measure of the way drivers are treating the roadway. So our study basically indicates that the normal traffic flow speed is approximately 46 miles an hour or 11 miles per hour over the posted speed limit. And then starting on page 39 of it is the actual report printed out from our equipment, showing those numbers. There's a pattern to the speeding. A lot of it occurs morning commute, afternoon commute. The afternoon commute, at least from this speed study, appears to start somewhere around 3 to 4. But we'd conduct our study when school was in session. Roswell High is fairly close. There's kind of a slug for a morning commute and a slug of afternoon commute as far as the speed. The second attachment is a study that we paid Lee Engineering to perform. So they analyzed 3 intersections along South Sunset. They looked at Hobbs, Poe, and Brasher. And what they did was vehicular counts at all 3 of those intersections, including the side street traffic, and an analysis of those intersections with an eye towards, do they need all-way stop control? So they did a volume analysis, they did a crash study, they did a sight distance analysis, and then they did what's called a level of service analysis. The level of service in the traffic engineering world is kind of a measure of the delay you would have at an intersection, how long you have to wait to make a turn. So based on their report, none of those 3 intersections met volume warrants that would mandate an always stop control installation. However, Poe Street did have enough crashes. Basically, what they're saying is there's enough crashes at Poe that we should think about doing something. Look at the manual of uniform traffic control devices, which is kind of the governing document on these traffic studies. If you need a crash warrant, but not a volume warrant, what their recommendation is, maybe you should look at doing something. Maybe the always stop control isn't the right thing to do, but you should think about doing something.
So the data they collected on the crash studies, how old is it?
I'm sorry?
The crash data. Yeah, so I noticed it's kind of old. I mean, and I don't know, I kind of got your numbers and I looked at them, it was a 5-day study, and it was very comprehensive. And I noticed that, if you were to get those 5 days and multiply it by 72.5, which would make it a year, in a year's time, because there were some vehicles going over 80 miles an hour. 80 mile an hour on Sunset. And if you look at it on a year's base, there's 217 vehicles a year going 80 miles an hour. And I actually saw one yesterday that was well over 80 miles an hour, and it scared the bejeebies out of me. 651 a year going over 75. 941 over 70, 1,954 over 65, 6,500 over 60, and a staggering 27,500 going over 55 a year up and down that road. And it's pretty startling. I mean, there's been 2 pedestrians killed there within the last year. And if you drive down the road, it's nothing to look and see that we don't even need animal control there. That road is animal control. It's not a good thing, but it's just sad, that the traffic there's, and so I pulled the traffic tickets, and over the last 28 weeks, our finest have only given out an average of 1 ticket a week. And that's actually capital B, capital S, because my job as a city councilor is to make this city safe. And unless we start doing something about Sunset, that's not a safe place. We have kids that cross between Jaffa, Yale, in that area right there. And then we got blinking yellow lights there and I see them fly through there all the time. And look, it's real simple. Start writing tickets, start enforcing something, or look, start putting stop signs up. And it's, and I'm not a big fan of stop signs at all. But I am a fan of keeping our city streets safe. And as, like I said, as a counselor, I want to make this city safe. And if the mayor or somebody can't help us get the city police to start enforcing the law, maybe it's time to look at the city police about doing their job correctly, because it's turned into a big joke. And short of, I just showed you hundreds, thousands of speeders, and you say on average it's 46 miles, 11 miles an hour over. And if you look, when you start collecting data, people are just turning onto the street. They're doing between 1 and 10, some of them between 10 and 20. I mean, 20 to 30% of your data is people just turning onto the street. The rest of them are just hauling short of, they're speeding. And it's out of control. And it's the new norm. And it doesn't seem like our city is just taking it serious. And I don't know, I would like to put them on notice right now that they need to do their job. So this is just out of control. These numbers are scary. And we need to do something about it. But it was a good study and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yep, sir.
And I hope our mayor can hold them accountable, because they need to be held accountable. Oh, I didn't see back there, Mayor. How are you, sir? No, it is.
Because all the highway department streets have so many potholes in them, they have to go to city.
It's faster to go down Sunset than it is Highway 70, and I agree with you. Plus, they give tickets on 70 that state police do. They don't on Sunset. So, any questions on that one? Go ahead.
I actually grew up on Sunset, so I can actually absolutely support that the issue there. I also see the same issue on Lee Avenue. And it's interesting, I was having that conversation this weekend about that, because I sit on my front porch. And what is missing is citations. I think maybe I saw, like in the last week, 2 cars pulled over. I think, I don't know if this is that's the big question. What is truly the solution? And how do we actually, as a council, and I understand the mayor can actually do that, but it is the city council that actually has the chief of police answer to the city council. He's appointed, and therefore we should be taking it up directly with him as well. But I would also recommend that that we put this as a non-action item, or ask to have Councilwoman Halverson review it in public safety. I think that we need to start making these numbers very, very visible, because it is a great study. And I think it's just an example for one street, and it's actually rampant throughout our city, because there isn't, I'm telling you, when you go to Tatum, there's 3 officers out and they all have people pulled over. I immediately hit my brakes because they got me once. I'm not going to let that happen again. And so, people don't actually stay away from the beehive unless they've been stung. So we have to actually start getting this out. And so that would be my thought, to see if we can get this on public safety, and to actually put it out there where, it can be addressed on that area as well. And that's just my opinion, because it is a huge problem across citywide. We are not having enough citations put out. And then it is something that we as a public safety committee can start actually just like we do with animal services, we look for citations to see how many are written. We need to start saying, this is not acceptable. I mean, we don't want everyone pulled over, but at the same time, we have to do something. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Counselor,
I guess my question would be to, I guess probably to engineering. So we have a study from re-engineering, who I'm assuming this is their specialty.
Yep.
Right. So we have a stamped document by a professional engineer that's went through the study and said that an all-way stop control warrant is justified because of crash, not because of sight lines or other things, but at Poe. If you're ripping down there and you have to stop, that changes some of the utility of speeding down Sunset. I just wonder what's the protocol once we've ordered this study, which I'm sure we paid for, and then we have a professional saying, therefore we should have a stop there because of this criteria. So what do we do next? Do we get costs for that? I know you said there are alternatives, but how do we follow through on that?
So basically the document just says
Warranted.
the crash warrant at O was met.
Right.
So if you go back to the source document, kind of uniform traffic control devices,
Right.
it says if you meet a crash warrant, but not the volume warrant, which is what happened here, you should look at doing something, maybe not changing the intersection control, but you should look at something.
Okay. So will the engineering department come to continue this and come to us with what the options would be and what the recommendations are? Or does that go outside, or does that come inside from you guys?
We could go either way. I mean, we could go back to the engineering and ask for them to continue the process and develop recommendations for us, so we can work on that internally.
Does the city have, let me ask you this, because it's a specialty, traffic control is a specialty, right? Is this a specialty that the city engineering department feels like they're comfortable making and living, dying by that recommendation?
Yeah, I mean, I work.
Yeah,
for DOT as a
DOT.
traffic-
Okay, so you feel comfortable
Yes, sir.
not subbing them?
ex-traffic engine.
No, I'm just saying, well, it's not all engineers are traffic engineers.
But
Like, none of my engineers that work at my company are traffic engineers. So we outsource that
yeah,
decision-making. I don't want city engineering to be stuck having to do something that's outside of their specialty that involves public safety. So, but if it's in your specialty, I think I'd like to see you come back to maybe to public safety and back to infrastructure based off this study. Right, so I'm going to add this to my list of studies. Based on this study, can you guys come up with recommendations for how to deal with the warranted determination of this in a month, or as soon as you can?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and probably take it to public safety too.
so it warrants, the MUTCD is the one it conflicts with somewhat, right? I mean, the MUTCD says it's,
There's something you should do, but not necessarily at all.
Yeah.
All stop.
I mean,
Right, correct.
An improvement,
Right,
not necessarily, you don't need to necessarily go all the way to, but there's alternatives
correct.
that you can meet that criteria and satisfy that, which is a big liability issue as well for the city. So now that we know we have to do something, we need to know what we need to do. So if you could follow through with that, that'd be awesome.
James, thank you for your work.
Yeah, thanks, James.
Yep.
And Counselor, your support, I appreciate that as well. We do have a level of responsibility for the safety of our constituents, and I think going forward this any way we can is a big step in the right direction. So thank you. Any more questions on this? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Did we pay for this study?
Yes, we paid for Lee Engineering.
How much?
I'd have to go back and look for sure.
Roughly.
$24,000.
Thank you.
Who wrote that study that puts me on the bus?
The next $5.
Probably have a selection, we'll have a new, for position engineer.
Right.
Mayor, with all,
It's voting against me, that's not right.
Mayor, with all due respect, I have spoke with the chief of police on multiple occasions about You know, because to me, I've done studies, I've been part of studies. And this one really isn't a traffic control device functionality that's defective or anything to that nature. It's more of a discipline. And we have no discipline. And the city of Roswell needs to actually, and what I've got was we're underpaid and we don't have time, so.
To do this, we need to put it in the paper, and we need to make sure across the street.
Yes, absolutely.
Not just wiping it off the carpet. If you're gonna do it, you want it to work.
Yes, sir, make it public.
Behind it.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Mayor. Thank you.
That's fair.
All right, let's move on, guys, to department report from the Roswell Transit. Ms. Becky, I think that's you again.
Yes. So, thank you for passing the 25-cent fare. We've had really, really good response to that 25-cent fare. People are very excited about it. And, if you have any questions about the reports, I'm here to answer them.
It's true. On this bus inventory, which are the two you're gonna dispose of this year, do you think? On this one?
So there's only a couple of CDL buses, 950. We've got 950, 951, and 952. Those are the three CDL buses.
And those, two of those are gonna go away and be replaced by the ones we're
Yeah.
proposing?
By the time we get the other ones, though.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
What are the miles on the baby?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it because the buses need completely, there's no way to use any of them like as a backup if something falls down or, breaks or anything like that? Or we have to dispose of them, or are you going to sell them? Are we going to, I don't know if I missed that part of the discussion.
Yes, Councilor Moore. The DOT tells us how many buses we're allowed to have. We would like to have more than our 10+3 vans, because we end up with lots of buses in the shop and then we don't really have enough and barely getting by. But they set because of our routes, how many buses we have out at any given time, they decide how many we're allowed to have, and 13 is about our max.
Okay, so you can't keep one in case one of the other one falls down or breaks or nothing like that. You have to get rid of those.
Right.
Okay. Are any of them available to be used anywhere else in the?
Well, we did get one to the airport. They were very excited.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm thinking there's got to be at least some place for one of them. All right. All right, that's a good idea, the airport. It really is. All right. That was all. I was just making sure we didn't just throw them away and someone, they can be used someplace else. So.
No, we do check that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm also free, which is next.
Good. You're up.
I stand by the fleet report if anybody has any questions.
I have one question. Maybe this has been beat before. Sanitation payroll.
That's really added for your convenience, just to show you how much it costs to run the shop payroll wise.
So that's sanitation mechanic payroll.
Yeah, it's all the mechanics. It's not the shop manager. The shop manager is paid out of fleet. The sanitation pays for all the mechanics.
Pay for all the mechanics, the tools, the shop, uniforms.
So that's just the payroll.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Abraham, are your mechanics, you basically are dealing with heavy equipment. Do your mechanics do more than, are they supporting other departments when they can?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of unique. So I provide all the funding for them,
Right.
but they work there. They do support water department, we do see in water departments, facilities. Are we looking for diagnostic or whatever?
Repairs, and then we back bill it to that department. Once a month, we do a journal entry to bill it to the department that brings them in.
We have a lot of heavy equipment, and being able to have some in-house ability to maintain it is pretty helpful.
It is helpful, yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than taking it somewhere.
Right, and time more timely.
Sometimes.
Sometimes more timely.
Sometimes, so we tell the department to like. Also, the department, things by the truck, have your filters, have everything ready when you get there, that way we can handle it.
Right, yes.
Sometimes when it gets to that level, I'm kind of.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
You know, a lot of times, we're extremely limited in who you can use. If it's just like one of those sanitation trucks, when the wells pop up off the floor, that ram comes in, that ram stuff underneath that floor, and it puts it all the way back. There's that whole floor out, and the only one that can fix that's probably Farrell Clement. You know, it's, they're really limited on what you can do, and a lot of the stuff you get since COVID, nothing's gone down in price, but, you know, a lot of it's not welded as well and stays hooked up together as much as it used to.
I agree. One thing I think, you know, I respect the fact that we do a lot of our in-house servicing of vehicles. We also have our software that, and I'm not sure, what is the name of our software that?
Fleetio.
Fleetio. All right, so Fleetio has every time you service a vehicle, your beginning mileage of when you put, well, first of all, when you take your vehicle in there with a fuel filter, the oil, and you guys do the service, you guys should say, well, how many miles did he go before his last oil change? And it should be interacted into Fleetio. And you get a little sticker that you put in your window, that tells you when to.
We've been going to the Pennzoil place.
And that's fine too, but when you go to the Pennzoil place, you still have to have a liaison between your transaction there and Fleetio saying, Pennzoil, you know, whether, you know, this was our expenditure and this is how much we spent on our maintenance of this certain vehicle. And that way there, now you have a record of how much maintenance we have put into this vehicle. And now we are looking at a replacement criteria. What is our replacement criteria on our vehicles? In order to establish a good replacement criteria, we need to start interacting with this more. And I know heavy equipment.
So anything that's done in his shop, my shop, your shop, whatever, anything that's done out in landfill, automatically goes into Fleet.
Automatically goes into Fleetio.
Yes, because
So we
Daniel, my parts person, will make a work order and he puts it into Fleetio. So that part gets done. It's just the other places in town, they don't have any way to interact with Fleetio, so they're not putting those invoices in.
So
But like Monica, she does it for the streets department. She puts all their invoices in.
So
But not every department is doing it.
So all purchase orders that are created for equipment repair that hits this budget right here should show up in Fleetio. Am I right?
Not purchase orders, but repairs, yeah.
Well,
The invoices should.
a purchase order for a repair or a purchase order for the replacement parts. Because when you're doing maintenance, you're gonna,
The invoice.
the invoice,
The invoice
yeah.
should hit Fleetio.
That way there you show how much money you put into the vehicle.
Yes.
Each vehicle.
And first of all, you open a work order, the work order and the PO, and then that's your job to,
Well, for my department, since she told me how to do it, I do it.
oh, good.
So I put all the
Excellent.
cars, if it has a unit number on there, I will put it in. And like I was telling her earlier, because I don't know anything about vehicles, so I just Google the part and see if it's an air conditioner.
Well, and
There's
that's
not a
great.
lot of info on the invoice, but I do attach them to it as well.
Well, the work order, which should be accompanied with a purchase order, should give you the information that you
It
need
should.
to.
Not every,
Then once
Not
again, I'm gonna go back to the
every-
sunset thing. There's a level of, you know, we look, we wanted to lease vehicles the other day. And the part of not leasing them was, we don't even know if we take care of our equipment and we don't even have a replacement. We don't have nothing.
Right,
So, but we have all the software, we just don't interact with it.
right.
So now I think we need to seize on the moment and say, look, we got the software, we've got the mechanics. We have everything, but now we can't generate reports from it because we don't interact with it. Or we do it at a level, but not
everyone.
Not everybody. And look, where do we start? We start small. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And you start looking at all the departments that are interacting with them and give a report back to us, showing which departments aren't interacting with us, and we can deal with those. But so we have a good level of understanding of what vehicles we're fixing, how much it's costing, what's going to heavy maintenance, what's going into our light fleet. And then we start establishing replacement criteria. And because it's funny that I see some departments got the same old vehicles forever, and then I see some departments, they seem to have a new vehicle all the time. That doesn't make sense to me because I think the vehicle replacement criteria should be generated from you. That actually tells us, hey, it's time to replace these vehicles because it has met criteria, not because we have the budget and we want a new vehicle this year. And that would be more responsible use of our taxpayer dollars when we go down the road as far as replacement criteria. And I think if we interact with that, and I know I a line in the sand, say, let's start doing that. And let me know how I could support you. I will support you 100% because we need to start doing something other than, this concept of leasing vehicles. Look, if leasing vehicles is a way to go and you show me a report that dictates that we should, hey, I'll jump on that boat. But right now, I don't think that boat will float at all. Especially if we start putting the data into the Fleetio. That's got a buzzword that I won't forget, I guess. I think it'll bring us value in the long run, and it'll help us down the road.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Get some training on video for our admins.
Absolutely. Anytime.
That's what I want to hear. Those are beautiful
I
conversations.
spent $47,000 on vehicle maintenance last year for 10 vehicles.
Mhm.
And I guarantee none of that got in because between my admin switch, nobody knows how.
I think one of the good things too, and it's pretty common in every business, of every size. We have software packages that exceed our ability to use them.
Right.
Like we're paying for more than we use. And usually it's not, we've already incurred the cost of the software. It's really habit. It's really habits. It's really nothing more than data entry and habits.
Well, originally, I was trying to put all of the tickets in. I couldn't do it. There's way too many.
Right.
Then, because I was paying the bills, so I got all the tickets. Then accounting decided I shouldn't be paying the bills because that was affecting other people's budgets. So it moved back to the department to pay the bills. Well, then I didn't get the bills. And so it was a moot point about me putting them in anyway, because I didn't have them.
Yeah.
And so it's better for the department to put them in. So then I offered training, and admin assistants come and go.
Yeah.
And you have to know a little bit about a vehicle, like you said, to put them in, because it's going to ask you what system of the vehicle was fixed.
Right.
Was it the engine or the brakes or the suspension or what was it? And so you have to know a little bit before you can even enter an invoice. And so that makes it a little bit harder.
Right.
That's true.
She wanted to.
I was gonna let Jim go first, and all the mechanics are certified to work on, let's say, a side loader.
Well, I don't know that there's any certification to work on a side loader, is there?
Just diesel mechanic.
Okay.
Mr. Burks, go ahead.
Since we're just bearing our souls, I can tell you that a lot of the trucks we have, I don't know if you repair them or not. My expectations are that they go in for oil changes, wiper blades, tires. If it's beyond that, it goes to the shop, which they collect the data. However, if it comes back to us as a budget item, and I look at our line item for vehicle repair, along with everything else, That also goes into our decisions of what we're gonna do. If the transmission fell out, I'm not gonna spend $2,000-3,000 on a transmission.
Right.
For a truck that has 150,000 miles on it, I'm gonna shove more people in the trucks I have.
Right.
And, you know, or we'll borrow vehicles from other departments and the brakes don't work, or, you know, you get to a point where, you know, the hand-me-down equipment's not worth handing down, but yet our maintenance repair budgets aren't adequate to repair anything. That's why we get the hand-me-down vehicles, because they're not worth repairing, but we don't have a choice. So there's things like that we need to look at also.
I think, I appreciate that. I think that's what.
It's a true statement, is the thing.
No, it's fact, yeah.
Well, I think what the chair is saying is like, when there's criteria that says this vehicle is no longer safe, that's a first criteria. This vehicle is no longer worth repairing, then that vehicle has to go. And that should drive the purchasing of new vehicles, not like he said.
I wish that was a true statement.
50% of the purchase value is a normal criteria for replacement.
And there are some vehicles that need to be replaced at 50,000.
Right.
I still,
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to keep going. We can go for a ride in Rudy's truck. He handed me down in the fire department. That was the airbag unhooked. It was in a front end collision, but yeah, that's all we have. We can get on to drive. So what's it? We don't have anything in our capital budget for that. It's just, it is what it is. And so, you know, we can take these vehicles and park them, but then we can't go to a job. So do I need and it's usually, you know, how many, not everybody, we put 4 or 5 people in a vehicle at a time. And then we separate when we get to a park or things like that. There's still vehicles out there that, you know, the windows don't go up or the doors don't lock, things like that, that we're not gonna spend money on.
Well, I would say it is what it is, but if you have a vehicle that you don't have functioning airbag equipment, then that's a gigantic health and safety issue, and that vehicle should not be in service, period.
Should not be in service.
Because if you get in a car accident and the airbag doesn't deploy, and you knew it wasn't going to deploy, then I mean, it's just, I mean, that just thing shouldn't be out there.
Well, the solution would be
not to have that vehicle in service, not putting city employees in a vehicle that's not safe.
And
You can't do that. So.
And Jim, your point here is, look, I still need a vehicle, and that's totally understandable.
Great.
And my point here is, it further is, we have vehicles out there that are, they're actually new on a every other year basis almost, you know, and some that are not. And so, my point here is everything should be triggered by the equipment manager. This vehicle is you know, I don't care who you are in the department or at the city, at what level. I don't think departments should even have onus of their own budget as far as equipment goes. Vehicle replacement, that should be triggered by Fleetio. You've got 150,000 miles, it's time for your replacement. Now you got 20,000, oh, and the new cars are out, it's time to go look at those. When we have other departments that are, God, I got to drive this thing even though the airbag doesn't work, you know, come on, that's a liability, you know, and Council Cortez, you're exactly right. We should not be operating equipment that is a safety hazard. And, you know, sometimes you look at it and the transmission is out, maybe it is worth replacing. That is a decision that the fleet manager should look at, that piece of equipment and say, look, we've only put X amount of dollars, throwing an extra $3,000 in it is right up our alley. We want to put another transmission in. 3,000 for this, we've already spent not only 25,000 on this, we bought it for 50. We don't want to put another 5,000 into it. That's when you cut your losses. Those are, you know, when we have these auctions should be POSs out there, not, I can only imagine. But seriously, the love isn't being spread evenly. And I've noticed it throughout the whole city of Roswell. And for the love to be shared evenly and applied evenly, you know, we have to follow it. And it has to be data-driven decisions when we replace equipment, not just willy-nilly we replace it. And I'm sorry, oh, you work in Parks and Rec, sucks to be you when you drive a vehicle, you know, and I'm not, and that's the point of this whole thing is everybody should have a decent vehicle. Everybody should be safe. But when we got a lot of love over here, a little love over here, it needs to be like this. And how do we justify these decisions? They all got to be data driven. And how do we drive the data? Is we all have to interact with Fleetio. And we have, that's going to be our driver.
So when I first took this job, because the general fund does not have very much money, and so they weren't buying new vehicles very often, the decision had been made to have water buy new vehicles every 5 years, and those vehicles would be handed down, because they would only be 5 years old, to the other departments that needed vehicles. That never happened. But the other thing is, water wants vehicles that have utility beds and all of those kinds of things. And other than facility maintenance, who could really use that, there aren't very many departments that want that.
So yeah, and with that being said, our enterprise fund was going to put 350 down at first, which sounded so attractive. But then you got $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and then it goes on million after year after year. What does that tell me? That we could have an equipment capital outlay budget at 1.2, 1.3 million every year.
Right.
Every year. And by doing that, we establish it, we look around and say, well, what has met criteria? And nobody's any bit, I'm sorry, James is saying, damn, I'm not getting that new vehicle mix.
Well,
I'm just joking.
we have, even if you set the age at 20 years,
yeah, we
have half of our vehicle fleet needs to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
It's non-police.
Met or exceed criteria.
Yeah.
And if you can present that data in front of us, we could actually look at it and say, how do we get up to par? And then how do we sustain par? But without any data and us just willy-nilly just throwing these dollars without really knowing, look, I know all we're doing is putting out fires.
We are.
Yeah. And I just think we can do a better job of it. So that's the why I wanted to stand on this. Go ahead, Counselor Moore.
I just had a quick, is it possible maybe they can upgrade the invoices to include the function, the things that she said that they need to know to put in Fleetio? Maybe they need to upgrade the invoices so they have the information that they need. And if they go to Pennzoil or whatever, there needs to be an invoice still. Somebody needs to fill out that invoice so that the correct people can put all the stuff in Fleetio. Don't tell me, well, you sent, I sent it to Jiffy Lube, so I don't have, the info. No, that information, whoever sent it to Jiffy Lube need to make sure that invoice or that information is complete so that they can bring it back to the right department and they can put it in Fleetio. We shouldn't have half the things going in Fleetio or half the things not. Then you will have the data, like you said. If everybody's putting it in there correctly, everybody's using an updated invoice, then you know what I mean? Then you can get some reports that we can see per department. You know what I mean? Then we won't have.
Councilor Moore, I know exactly what you're saying, and that is an excellent observation. So anytime you do an equipment repair, it hits a certain line item, right?
Yes.
The line item, I wouldn't have an idea what the line item is.
There's repairs and maintenance.
But it's an account code strictly for vehicle maintenance. So anytime there's a vehicle maintenance code generated, that bill is not to be, AP should get these bills, right?
They do.
So when AP gets a bill and it's not stamped Fleetio on there, which means it went to Fleetio, you don't pay the damn thing, it goes back out there until it gets entered into Fleetio. And if you make that if you make that as a, as a constant all the time, I'm sorry, you cannot pay these bills unless we've got the Fleetio stamp on there. And what does that tell us? That somebody entered it into Fleetio. And now we know that we've got data in, the bill can be paid. And not only that, is that account code should match every one of these expenditures on there.
Oh, and I'll just throw this out here because
go ahead.
There's two ways to look at this, right? The first is you have a distributed network, but you already have a distributed network of vehicles and people that are getting repairs on their vehicles, right? there's actually two processes there. The first is payment of that and charging that to the right account, right? And that's the process that you're chasing, which is the invoicing, which is of course important. But you actually, if it's a specialized skill to put it in Fleetio, there's only certain people that can do it, you can bifurcate that process. You can say, look, these are the bills getting paid, but as long as every vehicle maintenance thing gets into a repository where it can be entered into Fleetio, because it doesn't have to be entered into Fleetio as quickly as it has to get paid.
Correct.
So another way to skin this problem is you can try to distribute it, but then you have to get buy-in from every department and everyone. You have to have someone in the pool and has the time to do that, which is not always a resource problem.
Correct.
Sometimes what you're identifying is a lack of resource. Now the road department, they work with vehicles, they have enough time to put their vehicles in, and they do that, and that's being succeeded. You don't have the training yet. These guys probably could, but you're going to have department adoption problems. And what I'm getting at is you could always just say, invoicing aside, as long as a copy of that invoice finds its way into a folder where you can identify where it came from and what vehicle it's associated with, which you can because it's VIN based, right? Then you can always pick that process up somewhere else and you can separate it from payment, but still keep it in an archive of maintenance. Because you could even go back in and back these maintenance items back in if you had time. You could take his last year's stuff.
So you pay your bills on 30 days.
You still pay your bills, but you could go back into his archive of bills, and when someone had time, and I'm thinking of, there are people in the city that maybe have time, we can go back in and deposit those. And then like he said, it's like entered into Fleetio, not entered into Fleetio. Just two streams of data.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily have to tie the payment into the Fleetio entry, which I know that's what you were suggesting, which is great, but all we're going to do there is piss off our vendors, right?
Well, yeah.
Which is a problem.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's a problem.
So all you have to do
Independent
is let them give me access to those accounts again. Because I can go into the account number and pull the invoice. But they took all my access away a couple of years ago. I can't even do this report. I have to get a hold of the county, have them send me the reports, and then I put it into my report that is.
You're the fleet manager.
It's even
all the bells and whistles.
I don't have access to.
Another thing without going into the account is another sane option.
I've asked departments to send them to me.
Or if all of them get paid out of accounts payable, then just say, anytime there's a maintenance invoice that's paid by the city, it goes into this share and it's dropped in. I mean, I'm just saying you can bifurcate the processes if you don't have the resources to enter into Fleetio. And probably if you have one or two people that are competent in Fleetio and enter, you're probably going to get better data because you're in better quality control of the data.
Yes.
So it's just a thought.
Mr. Bush, you're on.
All right, so when we send our vehicles to Pennzoil or whatever, there's 2 or 3 vendors in town that we're allowed to use. That's oil, which will wiper blades. Those invoices are scanned and they're put in when we do our processes. They have a copy of that. The only other place that we go is out to get tires. Any maintenance, called maintenance goes out to landfill. Or what's the other guy calling highway? Some goofy name every once in a while, they send them out. So we're kind of controlling where we go.
All those invoices just need to end up in Fleetio. That's the goal.
Correct.
We're just trying to figure out how to make that happen. So
yeah, whether it's outsourced work or it's in-house work. The material or just anything that's tied to this should go in there.
I don't know how you get there, but
and
we just do it.
It's a system the city has, but we don't use it. And that's, maybe, and I still think it's hilarious, that we want to just go lease all these vehicles and pay $1 to $2 million a year. Easy, but really, I don't think it's justifiable yet.
Find a place where all the invoices go and make sure that a duplicate of that invoice is dropped into a Teams folder. and then get it all put into Fleetio. That's, I mean, in the end, that's where you're gonna, you almost need an archive of every fleet maintenance item in one spot. Distributing across departments doesn't get you there. If you can get it centralized and you just say, look, every invoice that involves,
Have another employee?
well, every invoice, if it ends up in a box, it'll find its way into Fleetio. But if you don't know, if you have to go to 10 different places to get this thing, you're not gonna get there. To find a way to funnel all those things that are paid into one spot in an archive. Once it's there, you have access to it now, forever, whenever, and you can go back to it. Because it sounds like it's a little bit of specialized to get it put in there.
It is.
So, you know,
So I can just send you my report that's got each line item.
There, I don't have time.
Well, not.
I took over all those and it's just crazy. No, I don't.
Whomever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, from my experience, because actually I created this process at the DOT. Not only did I create it there, I went to District 1 in Las Cruces and we trained them there to do the exact same thing. And Chris, you knocked it out of the park there. We have a centralized place where we have a FTE that's all she does is she will not pay a bill. And we started we had the file. It's funny you said that, and because we had to pay our bills in 30 days, or you're going to go get your oil change and say, dude, you didn't even pay your last month's bill.
Yeah.
So we figured out there was we had to play that game at first. And it's funny, Chris, you kind of think ahead and it was a great process that you came up with there, but really it's centralized. You have to get an FTE and that's all they do. They get these bills and they tie it to an FA and bills paid. But it is a level of discipline that's by each and every department. And then the departments that don't want to play in the sandbox, you got to call them to the side and say, hey, look, this is our process. But one person knows Fleetio and they know it well, and I don't know who that person is. Would that be you? Would that be, because Fleetio's got a lot of bells and whistles and you got to enter all that data in, and I'm pretty sure it's at the shop over there maybe. So there's somebody in there, and I don't know if you have an FTE there that does nothing but enter that. It's done by each mechanic.
No, it's done by the parts manager.
It's done by the parts manager. Okay, so we have a subject matter expert. We've already found out. So the subject matter expert, he's got to share the knowledge, and you slowly train each and every person. And then next thing you know, everybody's interacting with Fleetio, and you're going to look and you go, damn, man, we've only accounted for 1.5 and we spent 2 million. Well, guess what? You're getting closer. And that's how you judge whether you're interacting with or with not it correctly. So, Jim, are you back?
Yeah, I was thinking, and since we're being honest here, we'll do anything the council's ask. You know that. But if there's hope at the end of the day that we enter all this data, that eventually we would end up with something we could drive, I'd love to do it. I would make it happen. But if we collect all this data and we don't see, we're still driving stuff that's falling apart, like we have been, because this has been discussed in the past. There was a 20-year vehicle plan replacement. The councilors voted in, they never got financed.
do you have a copy of that plan?
No, mine went down.
I'll just say it, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we love it.
No, I mean,
I get it. I'm saying I process tens of thousands of paper documents a year. And we have one place in our entire company, because they can come at us from about 15 different places. We have one place it goes, and we all have access to it right now. I could pull it up right now. I have 5 years of one thing in one Teams folder, and I can find it right now. If you can funnel, what you're dealing with is a communications issue, where you have a lot of data entry points, but all that data is related to one thing, which is go into Fleetio, right? So it's a communications network. What you're talking about is noise. One set of noise is this person doesn't know how to enter it. I'm sure you could enter it if you knew how to do it, but that's a piece of noise. The other thing is he just doesn't have a copy of it. Maybe his guys didn't give it to him. That's another piece of noise. That's a missing data point, right? So really this is communications. We have all this information, all this data coming at us, and we have to put it into a system that then can give us information so we can make decisions. And so the first problem to solve is the raw data problem. And the raw data problem is the invoices. Where are all these invoices, which are coming from internal staff and external sources, not all the same people, somehow all that raw data has to get to one spot. And then from that one spot, I'm not saying you have to enter it right away, but if all the raw data ends up in one spot, then once it's in one spot, it can then be entered, right, by someone or people that can become successful, right? And that's the problem. It's not about, we're trying to jump ahead in the process. The first process to distill down is, where is all the raw data coming from? And how do we get it into one container?
So the way I do it is I get invoices from AP. I pay them. I put those with unit numbers in a folder. When I have extra time, I go in there and I do my best on what I'm doing. If it's air conditioner, transmission, oil change, or whatever it is, I try to do everything I can on there, and then I attach the invoice into it.
Right, which is awesome. So what you've done a microcosm of what I'm explaining. I'm saying you have to find a way to get it to happen across the whole organization. And the other cool thing about it, if it's in one spot, if you go in and you can't figure out how to put it into Fleetio, maybe someone over here knows how, but then they don't have to send it to it. Like, this one right here, I'm having a problem. And someone that knows more can get it.
And it also lets you, I don't know, some people do this, but it add stuff. So like, I get hit, I put it in there too.
Right.
To that unit.
Because it's charged to this account.
Yeah.
So you have to.
That wasn't on there to start with. I just added it.
You have to, anything that starts to this account is.
So I put window tint on there, and then of course vendors are in there, so it's the vendor's name, and then it's connected to that. So anything that has the unit number that we do maintenance or tint or whatever, I put it in.
What makes it difficult in Fleetio is the fact that there's some things that are in there that are already pre-made, right? Like an oil change, I don't know what it calls it. It doesn't say LOL.
Service.
I put it in there as well. So, but you're supposed to know what system it was in, because there's 4, they use the VRMS codes, and there's 4 of those codes, and so you have to break it down.
Right.
This was in the engine, and then it's the crankcase, and then it's the oiling, and then there's 4 different places. And those are for reports. If you wanted to pull a report and say, how many times have we fixed brakes in the city this year? So you can pull a report just on brakes, but you have to fill out those VMRS codes. Now, you could leave that part blank, but if you do, then you're still not.
Then you don't have
to its fullest capacity. But not every admin assistant knows what all that is.
Correct.
So,
yeah, and I guess so.
We'll give you like all the notices, like it's time to change the brakes. It's time to change transmission.
Because we attach a service schedule to each vehicle.
Some department managers get overwhelmed with so many notifications and they're the only ones getting it, that basically it's ignored.
Well, if I will, real quick, you get a message to service the transmission. Okay, and once I got, and ours was called Fleet Focus. Once we got Fleet Focus to start interacting, it told people when to change the hydraulic system, when to change transmission system, when to change oils. Our transmission repair, it was almost non-existent. Our hydraulic pump repair, which we were spending over $200,000 a year on, went to zero. And I mean, and when you look at the equipment that the people were using out in the field that they didn't have no more, now all of a sudden they have the equipment. It's amazing. When you're replacing hydraulic pumps out in the field, it should be very rare. It should be a rare thing. But when you're doing it constant, that's because you're not changing your hydraulic fluid. And something, we can kick this dead horse for a long time. We probably need to move on, and I know we do. But I think our first goal ought to be is training, get everybody aboard on how do we interact with Fleetio. And, and look, we start sharing the knowledge now. Everybody gets up to par, and everybody should be chomping at the bits to interact with it. And we already have some people that do interact with it, but we have some people that want to interact with it. We have some people that just want a new vehicle. And not because, that he doesn't want to interact with it, but he wants the data to show that, hey, my vehicle needs replacement criteria and it should have been 5 years ago.
You're correct.
And that's, you know, and I think the level of love, and I'm gonna go back to love here, not love here, it needs to be here. You know, if people are driving 100,000-mile vehicles, everybody should be driving. If somebody's driving a 25, then everybody should be driving. You know, so go ahead.
You know, to me, it seems like we're going all over
We are.
but the one that really should take charge on this thing is Chad and Mike to give the order, let's get organized to the point where we will be at that you're talking about.
And Counselor, that's a great observation, and you're exactly right. But what we got to do is plant the seed here, and we need implementation, and then we need to support them as counselors. Okay? And that's all we need to do. Look, I don't want to beat this horse anymore. Let's move on. But seriously, I think this is a line I wanted to draw in the sand, and I think it's a good place to start. So,
Video implementation plan.
yes. So, and I'm sorry, this thing took a bad turn. Madam Clerk, I'm sorry, this drug out, and you start, I was waiting for you to drag out a chair with Counselor in it there.
She was going.
So anyway, let's move on, okay? Department report at the zoo.
Stand by my report. That's presented.
I noticed they're dying off over there, but
They're getting away.
they are. And what's crazy, and I'll hit this real quick, is, man, these guys have lived a long time. So for me to getting out these PETA emails, man, these animals live a long time. My God. Anyway.
Got plenty of love.
Any questions for the zoo? Any questions for the parks? Any question for recreation? I'm gonna roll down to, how about the cemetery? And now let's go to solid waste. And as presented. I think we kind of hit a lot of solid waste earlier and some good discussions. Department report on water maintenance and transmission.
Report has been submitted and is presented.
You need to memorize that, okay?
I'll write it down.
Okay, department report on central control.
Report has been submitted. Report stands.
There you go. No questions there. Moving right along. Wastewater treatment plant and sewer.
Report has been submitted.
Okay.
Recorded.
Hey, Mr. Chair, real quick.
Yes, sir, Councilor.
There was a ICIP item for head gates. And for the next meeting, can you give us a summary on that, on the issue for head gates and the head gate repair? We have a little bit of, and I don't know if engineering will have to help, but we have a little concern about those head gates and the way they're having to manage those head gates as a safety issue.
That was on the ICIP.
It was on the ICIP list, and I did sit a rainbow on that, as did I, but I'd really like to get a summary on that issue. Construction meeting. So we're definitely concerned about what you guys are having to do to manage those.
Oh, like sandbags and stuff like that.
There is a horror story tied to that, and you're exactly right, Counselor. So yeah, if you could get that up and get it out in front of us. And
I don't want people driving cars without airbags, and I won't want people down in sewage, putting in sandbags would be. Some of these things we're talking about, these maintenance items are pretty critical safety items.
Safety issues and
that are hard not to.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Counselor.
If you could, that'd be great. Sorry, just next infrastructure meeting. Can you bring us a little summary on next infrastructure meeting? Maybe as a non-action item summary, not in your report, just like a separate summary on what's going on there. That'd be great.
Just get some data together and get with Mr. McCormack, and he'll be glad to put it on the agenda for us. And let's go to department report on streets.
Street Special Electronics and Engineering, the report's been as presented. I'll answer any questions.
Okay,
You guys have been pretty busy.
Yes, sir.
1.5 on microsurfacing and so much on the little mill and fill, and the roads are going to be chosen by,
Yeah, our pavement maintenance condition and an assessment by the streets department.
okay. As long as we got a good
We'll have
process,
a proposal to you next infrastructure.
just make sure that good process is tied to how those were chosen, so.
Yeah.
Good.
Like if it's in the street replacement plan, that would be good.
And a copy
Not in the
of,
plan, we're starting all over.
copy of.
But
Okay, an updated.
we're doing all the wood.
Gotcha.
All right, how about special electronics?
Yeah, the report's in there and I'll answer any questions on it as well.
Look pretty good. Department report on engineering.
Same thing, all our information's in there and I'll answer any questions.
Okay. I didn't have any questions on that. Anybody else? How about facility maintenance?
Report has been submitted and report stands with the exception. Went over this with you a little bit a while ago, Counselor. New projects I'm working on.
Yes, sir.
Give me Rita one.
Yes, yes. So I'm working with Facility Solutions Group out of El Paso, XL Energy. We're doing lighting and HVAC rebates. I've already got a rebate for the library amount of $6,000. The current project I'm working on is for fire prevention. That project is going to be just under 10 grand with a rebate of 2,100 if we can get it pushed through. So any of the older buildings, I'm going to be coming through with a group of people. We're going to be looking at this. I'm going to be looking at changing your lighting and your HVAC, and we're going to be looking at rebates on that and past upgrades that we've done. So if I come to you with that, it's going to be, we're looking to get some more money.
And these are projects that actually pay for themselves. What do I mean by that? You know, anytime you go from just, I lost the name of it.
Fluorescent.
Yeah, there you go. Versus LED, you're gonna see huge savings on those. Up to and including when you change out your HVAC system, those can be up to a 50% savings on those as well. And it looks like this is the direction you're going in, and wow, I think this is amazing. Good job. Good job. All right, public participation. Oh my God.
Is it my turn?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
On the floor.
I'm Rita Kane, Dora Popper from Very Narrow Unstriped, Chicago Cubs mailbox, Mark Road. How many people know that we have a wastewater plant? Wastewater. Raise your hands, it's public participation. How many of you have been to wastewater? Oh, I took 12 little darlings there a week ago. They didn't want to go because it smelled out there. After an hour, after 2 hours, they didn't want to leave. I'm telling you, Naomi, she knows everything. She knows everything. We went into a room and the one bright boy, Jackson, he's scary. He said, "Is that shit in there?" And she goes, "Yes, it is. And I'm going to tell you what we do." And she went through the whole process. I mean, these are little kids from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I wanted to take the 4 and 5-year-olds, but I was voted down. They loved it out there. They learned. And you know what we learned? Several of them don't know how to swim. No, you fall in there, we'll throw a flotation in there. You'll get all crappy, but we'll get you out. You go in there, well, why can't we live in that one? Well, have you seen those aerators out there? Do you know how big those aerators are? They'll suck you right down. It's Rita. I'm telling you, and she and Ricky just had a great time, and they gave us little gifts so the kids will remember. And the thing that stuck with me is Naomi said to them, "You know what you're going to throw down the toilet, and you know what you're not. you see this big machine here? By the way, we saw those $1 million machines. We couldn't go in, but Naomi raised the door so we could look in there and see all these big machines. And she said, you see this machine? It'll take your little trucks, it'll take your goldfish, it'll take whatever, and I will come hunt you down. I'm just telling you. And they said, it's so green out there. So I found some chips. And, you know, she really had them for what, 2.5 hours? And they loved it. And this is the stuff I do with the city. So, and this doesn't cost you a dime, except for the time that they spend with these little darlings. And I want to thank you for allowing these people, I mean, the library, they overran the library, and the fire department, they ran over the fire department. And we're going out to Twin Farms, which is not you, but they have great nuts out there. I mean, the pecans, they have great pecans out there. But if you have never gone to wastewater and see how everything is processed and where you spend a lot of your money on the machines, I forget how much they are or what they cost, but that was a ton of money. You need to really go out there. And they're so friendly out there. Oh, you have to bring them food too. But anyway, it's so green, so you have little things. Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're very welcome.
We appreciate it.
Anybody online have anything? Anybody online?
No, I'll go.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. We're, oh, wait.
406.
Oh,
I was pointing.
406, we've adjourned. Thank you.